So there I was, dibba-dobbing. I mean, really dibba-dobbing. Oh, I'm spilling tea on my crotch.
Yeah, tea. Testing, testicles. Welcome back to a very special episode of Day Rates, the show where we talk about design
And money. So why is this week so special, Joel?
Well, Miles, are you sitting down?
Yes.
We've reached 10 subscribers.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yes! All right. Okay. Well.
So to commemorate, we're going to take a look back at some of our best episodes and just react to some of the content. Let's take a look now.
Oh, we were just boys.
Wow, so young.
Oh, great content, though.
That is a good insight there.
I remember that moment.
Who is that guy?
Oh, wow.
Barely recognize him.
He looks so much smaller.
Well, enough of that trip down memory lane.
What a wild ride.
That was good.
This podcast has been a real roller coaster of emotions.
Thanks to everyone that supported us along the way.
Thank you all. What can we say?
All 10 of you. We're hoping to hit 11 next week.
Whoa. That's enough of that.
That's enough of that. So, let's kick things off with our
Family Fun Design Corner. For kids.
This week, we've got Jessica Herrera. She did a talk at SIGGRAPH 2019. SIGGRAPH is the Maxon Cinema 4D conference thing where there's lots of hour-long sessions and shoots that you can find on YouTube where great designers kind of run through their workflow and how they made their projects. Jessica Herrera is an Aussie, which you rarely see, and her work's really great. It's lots of character stuff. A lot of stuff you see in C4D, it's really kind of heavy glow and all that, but she does kind of nice motion graphics-based character stuff, which looks really cool. And she blends a lot of 2D looks into it. Yeah, it's a really interesting work. And it was a really great chat. She did some modeling of a character and stuff like that. Talked about her workflow. It was really interesting.
That scares the shit out of me doing stuff like live.
They've got their projects beforehand. Like, you'll look at the reel, they'll pick something in it, and then they don't do something from start to finish. They just show the kind of key steps. So, but if you're learning something like Cinema 4D, it's a great way to kind of get across how different designers approach something. And I learned loads from it. Like, way more than just watching a tutorial, because you see how they'll do the UV mapping and the modeling, and they kind of go through the whole thing, which is great.
Jessica Herrera. Okay, what's our topic of the day, Miles?
Topic of the day is specialists versus generalists.
That's probably something we've all kind of struggled with, I guess, at some point.
Yeah, definitely in the design industry, it's a topic that comes up basically on every single design podcast. And so we thought, hey, why not follow the trend? Let's be trend followers.
Bandwagon.
But yeah, it is something that as a designer, you kind of think about in your career on the regular. And it's definitely something we've gone through as a studio.
Many times.
It's funny, when we started the studio, I started as a marketing business because I just hated a job I had. So I was like, fuck that job. I don't want to do sales anymore and I want to do something more creative. And when you think creativity, you think marketing. You just think, do some SEO, do a few websites, all that kind of good stuff. So I was just trying everything out, like the ultimate generalist, but also no skills to back it up at that stage. And eventually found a love for design. And that was kind of my first little step from offering a broad business to now just this field of design. And then you realize that's still the most general thing ever.
Yeah.
Hence the next stage of our journey.
I still struggle when people ask me what I do. Like, it's really hard. If you just say designer, they're just like, yeah, but clothes or? So you gotta I don't know, be really specific. But yeah, when we started, we were kind of just, I don't know, there was a point where you kind of asked me, what do you want to do? We just start selling whatever the fuck you want to do.
Panic sets in.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't fucking know, dude.
Who am I?
Yeah, at one point we were doing apps.
Yeah, we were doing app designs.
Did an app for your dad, remember that?
Love it.
Dude, I loved every minute of that.
And then we did a couple other finance apps, if you remember around that time, for
clients.
Yeah, we did. That shall not be named. But yeah, we had a real mix. Yeah, we would do standard graphic design. So we would do logos and marketing collateral and stuff. And then we would also do a lot of web stuff, which is very difficult to balance. And animation was really taking off for us, which is already, our main earner, but it was cut in with all these other things. So there was a lot to juggle.
Yeah. It was something recently that we really decided to just stick to motion. I still think on our website at the moment it says we do branding.
Branding and motion, yeah. And it's funny, I think that's very indicative of the struggle towards specialization. I think it probably is worth trying to specialize because for us, it's always been way more lucrative every time we condense down what we do. And it's very scary each time. It's kind of scary dropping the websites out of what we do. It'll feel really scary dropping the branding off there as well because you think, I'm going to give up this whole other source of income and revenue. But the reality is having a single offering, people really understand what you do and it's a lot easier for them to say yes to you. So if they come to us and they say, we need a good animation piece and they see that we do animation plus branding, they think, it's a design studio. So I'm not sure, but this other company just does animation. They're what we need.
That's scary.
Yeah, it's very scary. And we haven't gotten rid of our branding off the website yet.
Still there.
Can't do it.
Yeah, no, sometimes you do get someone coming up asking for some branding stuff. Immediately I'm just like, I don't know. But then you find out what they do and you're like, fuck, that might be pretty cool to do.
Yeah.
And then we get stuck back in it again.
I think it's hard to. It's easy. You should be a generalist at the start of your career, I think, because you don't know yet. We've gone through that basically as individuals and as a studio together. You have to have that process and you have to try things out. And it's worth, if you get a branding job and someone wants to try you out and you're in the design space, probably give it a go because you might turn into a branding person. We turned into animators.
Yeah.
But it's completely arbitrary. We just like doing motion and that's what the market wants from us. So we keep doing it. So it's worth being led by opportunity, not just saying, I'm going to be a branding person arbitrarily. If there's something that you feel a passion developing for and people are responding to it and coming back and asking for that, then those are some great hints to go in that direction.
Yeah.
So that's why we're at a point now where we can drop off these other products and stick towards animation because most people refer other people to us for animation.
Yeah.
It's a really easy decision to make.
Yeah, it kind of led us there. It wasn't really our idea to do that. It kind of just happened.
No, exactly. Especially when you first started, it was definitely much more of a design studio, and we still do collateral and stuff for clients. Like I spent a bit of time this week doing some brochures and stuff, which is not what I want to do with my whole life. But the reality is our studio's had a long life cycle now. We're at 6 years and you have some good clients that you don't want to let go of. And even though your business is changing, you might want to still keep some along with you. That's fine, I think. But new clients that we're bringing in, it's for a specific reason. It's really trying to get more motion work and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's the difference, I think.
And then we could even go like as deep as even now that we've decided to stick fully with animation and motion graphics, it then becomes you're getting deep into the 3D space. I still am just like kind of doing 2D and After Effects and stuff. How do you like fan yourself across all these different
That's true. And
programs with styles? And
now it's like that scary feeling again because yeah, you're right. Now we're digging into other stuff and it's starting to feel like there's an opportunity to really go down that route. And I'm looking down the barrel of this 3D stuff and I really enjoy doing it every day, but it feels crazy to get rid of After Effects out of my workflow and just focus in on this one thing. It is a little different, I think, because motion graphics as an industry, it's not animation as an industry. It kind of has carved a weird niche because it's a specialization within design, but it by nature is a little bit generalist.
yeah.
Like most motion graphics people, you look at their reels and there are a few styles on there and people still, there's a big market for that because you're solving problems that can be, you know, you're not trying to make a Pixar movie where the character needs to move in ways that have been done before.
Yeah.
It might be a promo where they want something that hasn't been done or they've got an experimental idea and you might have to blend some techniques. And while it's great to have a team to all work, you know, if you've only got one or two people, you have to be across a few disciplines to make that happen, which
Yeah.
I think is where we're at as a studio.
Which is good.
Yeah.
I mean, then eventually, I guess, if we hired someone or, you know, we might hire some specialists in those sort of areas.
Yeah,
And
it's
then,
true.
I don't know, we'd probably take on more of a creative director role. So, yeah, I'm pro generalist.
It's good because you can mix things in.
And then, yeah, like how you're doing 3D. 3D isn't just, it's a whole beast. Like, you gotta,
Yeah.
like, model the thing,
Well, that's
texture the thing.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many moving parts to it. It's like, I feel like if you were to, well, we would have to hire someone else at some point to help with that shit.
Yeah.
Or alternatively, you go down that rabbit hole and then that's your only thing because it's so big. I feel like it's
to do it well.
you kind of have to just be a specialist when it comes to that stuff, unless you just have like a fuckload of time or something.
I mean, yeah, this is it too. Is the more complex the work is, the more specialist roles emerge within it. Yeah, obviously, you can be a designer and say I'm a graphic designer and probably do logos and marketing collateral, and that's completely fine. No one would expect you to specialize beyond that. It's under the umbrella of branding. As an animator, same thing. You can dabble with these things and that's fine. But if you commit to say, I'm a 3D animator now, or I'm a 3D modeler, then there's all these different roles. You could be the person that does the modeling, the person that does the texturing and the lighting, the animator.
Jesus.
Or there's compositors that just get the shot looking like it's in a real world situation. So there's all these different roles that start to emerge, and I think that's what's intimidating me to go deeper into 3D, is knowing that the more I go into it, the more my limitations will become apparent. And then we're going to have to go back into hiring someone or building things out and understanding a whole new workflow properly before we do that. So it's a bit scary, but
It's also fun, I guess.
yeah, it is.
That's kind of cool.
It's a chance to build something new,
Yeah.
which is good.
And I mean, if you're enjoying it, just fucking do it, I suppose.
But say you as a generalist, it's great. At the moment, you're doing a lot more video editing, but it's really
True.
tying into, it makes our animations better. You might have a better eye for composition. I'm now doing 3D renders that you'll be in charge of editing. So you're blending those skills quite well, which I think is good.
I think that's true because I even mentioned this yesterday. The fact that, I don't know, I do a lot of stuff, a lot of different things, whether it be, motion or just design and also photography outside of work. Now I have this weird talent of just knowing when something looks good,
Yeah.
but I don't know like necessarily how. But I do know how to frame things better, or like I've just seen a lot of stuff, and now that I just kind of know what looks good, which is kind of, I used to think wasn't really a skill, but like now we're doing more and more different stuff. Like it's coming in handy so much more. Just knowing like if you just look at a frame and just be like, no, that shouldn't be like that. It should be like this, and still not really understanding why that is, but just it's a skill in itself. Just understanding that.
Yeah, I guess that's like the creative direction skill.
Yeah.
Which we always put shit on people that are like creative directing and they just got the vision and don't know how to do anything, but
Getting paid a fuckload.
I mean, the reality is it's an important job too. And I'd say a lot of those skills for you probably have come from the photography as well, because whether or not you're taking photos all the time, you're looking at things in a particular way all the time.
Yeah.
And that bleeds into the work now. You know, you have probably a much keener eye for composition.
Yeah.
So,
But yeah, accidentally.
Yeah.
Like, I never like sat down and was like, I'm going to learn how to do composition. Like, you just see a whole lot of stuff, and that stuff just sticks in my brain. I have a very terrible memory, you know this, but I don't know. I will pick up on visual things like that.
I've taught you text animators 4 times.
Text animators are lame, dude.
I'm creative directing now, man. I don't give a shit about text animators.
Just make it happen.
Tweak that frame, bitch.
I don't care how long it takes you.
Yes, Mr. Joel. Right away, Joel. So benefits of being a specialist, though, lead back to that, is I think you can get more money for your work.
For sure.
Which is fantastic. And then the more money you get for the work, the more effort you can put into it. And the more high quality it becomes, and the more specialized you become as well. So it's this kind of sustaining loop that once people know you as something like that, you'll get a lot more opportunity to do it. And if you set up the right career for yourself and it's something you actually like doing, you can really rise to the top of something that way.
Yeah.
Whereas I think as a generalist, you have to have really good creative instincts to rise to the top of a pile, because you might have good skills across the board, but not amazing skill at something.
Yeah.
So that's where, having a good creative eye is the main thing you're honing. You know? What is the end goal I'm trying to get out of this project?
I'm learning a lot about myself.
Yeah, that's definitely you. You definitely like to tinker with a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Because, like we said, we were doing like web design at one point, and I was like, fuck, I better learn how to code.
Yeah.
And I was doing that for a while. By no means am I like a coder, but now I understand shit like that. Say if I was to get a job as like a creative director at a product design place or something that was like doing an app or some bullshit, at least I would half understand like what needs to be done.
Yeah. And I think, being a generalist is probably really good if you're leaning towards becoming a creative director, because you're right. Then you understand what someone else is doing for you. So you don't just tell a coder, get that done in a day, because you have an understanding of what it might actually take to do it.
Yeah.
So that's a real benefit there, definitely. Negatives of being a specialist, though, would be, I think, you really have to commit to it. If you don't, you kind of half-ass. You can just cut off other streams of revenue. And if you're not, we all talk about the people that are top of the industry, and everyone knows them, like, even if it's like an Aaron Draplin, his work's not particularly complex, but he's done the one thing consistently, and that's why he makes good money. But there's a lot of other logo designers that make no money.
Yeah.
They're okay as well. That's their specialty, apparently, but it doesn't really work out for them. So you have to have a real work ethic behind it to make it work, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Because you can't be a specialist while there's another generalist out there that has your level of skill.
Yeah.
You have to be a cut above. That is your commitment. So
that's commitment is the word.
Yeah.
It's too scary for me, man.
It's very scary.
Because then, I don't know, even when I was a kid, man, I was like chopping and changing what I wanted to do and shit. I was always like dropping out of sports and changing and like, I can't fathom just sticking to one thing. I'm surprised I've stuck to like, I don't know, film photography as well.
Yeah.
I'm still doing that. And I think that's because I never tried to make it a moneymaker. Like I never tried to make it my job. And I was aware that if I did do that, I'd probably lose the passion for it.
Yeah, that's true.
So now it is like, I love doing it and I do it outside of work, but I don't know. I've been offered to go on a shoot before to do like a job. And I didn't really think about it. And then I ended up turning him down. I was like, I'm not a professional. Like, I really had to think about it being a passion of mine. I didn't want it to become a chore.
Wow, that's very mature of you.
It really was.
I've taken money for anything I can get money for. Like,
it was hard to say no to the money.
If someone told me to paint their fence and they were a client of ours right now, I might paint their fence.
You would do that, yes.
I would definitely be like, you'd be like, where are you going, Miles? And I'm like, nothing. It's this whole crazy thing. I got like paint buckets with me and overalls. I'm like,
you would have to hide it from me too.
I would have to hide it from you. I definitely couldn't bring you on board for that job. That's a direct order. We're going painting.
I don't think I could do this.
I've been that close to that many like huge errors in my career
Well, I mean, you've got here, so like,
Although there's probably some other parallel universe where there's like really rich Miles and Joel, and we have like perfect sunglasses, and we just both specialize like crazy and never did anything weird for a client, stuck to our guns.
we could be dead somewhere in another one.
There's only 2 options, well 3 options. We're in the middle.
We think we're in the middle. Yeah, we might be at the top of our game right now.
Fuck. That's definitely something for another episode. Is like how to know when you've reached your peak. You know, are you there right now?
When to plateau?
Are you 25 and for some reason at 26 you'll be irrelevant? That's my push to specialize. But then also that's a reason not to specialize. Like, what if I'm really good at 3D and then someone's like, yeah, you just do it in VR now with a little brush. And I'm like, fuck, I learned MS-DOS.
Then again, you only really started 3D. I remember this when we were back at our old office. You kind of started 3D because you thought about it deeply and figured out like that's kind of the way everything's going. And it was like VR and shit. You're like, at least like years down the track, I'll still be able to like model a fucking room. If it is like
Yeah, it's
VR.
true.
I remember you saying that.
There was some, like retroactively fitting my story to it. Like, this will be why I'm doing this.
Yeah.
More as like you just open Blender for a second. You're like, oh, it's kind of cool, a cube. You know, we all narrativize like why we're doing. You know, I was thinking about this. Even I was talking to Hannah about it, and she was saying, "Oh, I'm a generalist by nature," but she's like, "Oh, it's bad because I get distracted." But you know, who knows why any of us do what we do? Her brain is telling her to try different things. Your brain's obviously telling you to try different things, and you might want to lean into that. You know, it's easy to push that aside because some design fuckhead on a YouTube channel told you to do something else, but you kind of got to do what feels right, and just try your best at it. And the specialization thing for me, which I'm not a specialist yet, I still do a bunch of shit. I was doing a brochure earlier this week along with my other stuff. So it's not like I'm telling clients to rack off because I got to do 3D every day. But I am doing more of it and more, and it's just organically happening. It's because I want to do it. There's little projects where I find an opportunity that it'll be more efficient doing it than doing 2D, and that's where it starts to form. So,
and the fact that you love it, that's the thing that going back to the film photography thing, I love doing it, so I didn't make it really my job. But you kind of know that you love doing this shit and it's intriguing to you. And I don't know, you seem to have a different way of thinking than me. You're like, I love doing this shit. I'm going to make it my job. I'm going to keep doing it. And there's like a confidence in there as well that you know you're going to keep doing it.
Yeah, true. I guess, but I don't know. It's funny because like I really love doing it. We're working on a promo now, which I think we showed some screens of last week, or show some motion this week, hopefully, if we're lucky.
Yeah.
And I really love doing that because it's still in that passion space. When you go to do photography, it is still for you. And when we do something for us, I really, really enjoy it. Or when I'm doing something on the weekend, I'll post weird photos or like weird renders. When it's for a client, you still get that kind of sapped feeling of I don't want to start this necessarily, unless you can get really excited about the project and see how it's going to fit into something or
Like a reel or some shit.
Yeah, which is hard. It's hard to... Designers don't want to say that. Well, especially motion graphics people. You want to be like, you're there for every client. And you certainly have to be. You have to solve their issues. That's the main thing. But a lot of the time, you have to have some broader reason why you want to do your best possible work on it as well.
Yeah.
You should look at every piece like it's a potential to be that great piece that you did. And it's better for your client as well to have that outcome. But yeah, it's hard. You can get some 3D jobs that are going to be really boring and that might sap the passion for it. And I might get, 3 years from now, be like, I'm so sick of doing, I don't know, renders of beer bottles with labels on it. Like, I hate this. I should have never done this. But I don't know now. I'm too early in it. So we'll find out. Tune back in 10 years from now.
Yeah, like I mentioned, I am pro generalist. And I think I mentioned yesterday as well. I don't know, even when I was a kid, I remember just like meeting people, older people. I'll give you an example. When I used to like try to skateboard, I was a terrible skater. I was bad at it. But I remember being down like the coast on holidays with my cousin, and like he's like older than me, and his friend was there, and he's just like, oh yeah, I used to skate. And then he just like jumped on the deck and just started doing these fucking like ridiculous tricks. But he wasn't like skating full time.
Yeah.
And like, remember when you're a kid and you're just like, I skate, that's what I do. Like,
yeah.
That's what I'm into. I didn't like anything else.
Yeah.
But I just remember being like, fuck, you can just like go through life and like be into some shit here and there. And then
just do well
at the end of it, you can just be like, you can be talking to some young guy and be like, yeah, I used to do this, I used to do that.
It's a nice story. It's
Yeah,
an
I think
interesting
it is.
life. Yeah.
That really appeals to me for some reason. But
Yeah.
yeah, like even like little shit. Like I remember last year at some point, I did like a pottery class. And that was dope. Like I made a little bowl, like a little key bowl at home. It's fucking dope,
Yeah.
dude. Like, I don't know.
I think that's worthwhile. I guess, it's your life. You're only going to be really a functional worker for probably, in design too, and stuff like this, maybe 20 years or something, because you'll be irrelevant eventually. Like, sorry, old folks and young folks that haven't got the skills yet, but you've got a short window where you're actually really good. And you should try the different things. If you're really functional and you're really going after different things, it's a good story for your life. And you can sit in a room doing 3D render your whole life, but it's nice to try some pottery. It's nice to do some photography. It's nice to go overseas, because all that work might not mean much. Like, you want the story attached to it. You want to have like a diverse life. I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think what was appealing about that guy's story, the guy that jumped on the skateboard and did cool tricks, is he jumped on the skateboard and did good tricks. If he jumped on the skateboard and whipped out, you'd be like, fuck this bitch. But it's true. So I think it's fine to be a generalist if you're really engaging with the different things that you're doing.
You can't just be like, yeah, I coded once. I don't know how to fucking like.
I dabbled. Yeah, you want to still blow people's minds and kind of be that Renaissance person of I've tried everything.
Yeah.
So I can see the appeal of that. But if you approach everything like that's going to be your life goal, and then you can scrap it if you, it's fine. But just dive into it and give it a real go.
Yeah,
then
give it a
that's
go.
fun
That's
life.
basically it.
Part of me would love to still be an animator in 20 years' time and have an insanely good portfolio, just like something that people really respect. The other way, I'd probably be a little sad if I was still over a computer doing the same thing in 20 years' time. So I don't really know. Like, it's hard to...
I guess you gotta get to that point where it's like people are just paying you for your time. Like,
Yeah, like they trust your judgment and you're going to have money and...
you can just consult and shit. Just be like, yeah, it doesn't look right. Thousands of dollars.
I mean, all the underlings will hate you because one day you'll be that old codger that comes in, you'll have like, I don't know, you'll be like in training design clothes, be like, that frame's wrong. And you'll be right, but they'll hate you for it. They'll be like, fuck this dude.
I can't fucking wait, dude. I want to be that.
He doesn't know how to use quantum editor or whatever, and they're just like,
Yeah, we're just like drawing shit. Like, this is how you do it. Flip book.
Yeah, exactly. I just think about the day when we're like, I'll meet some other kid and he's like, yeah, I do animation, or he or she says, I'm doing animation. And I'm just like, yeah, I did After Effects. And they'll just be like, the fuck, it's so irrelevant. You know? So, it's that time of the episode. You tell us the terrible thing that happened this week.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Should have thought about this a bit earlier. Oh, we called the cops yesterday. Should we not say that?
We didn't call the cops, sir. It's like a gentrified neighborhood, but it's still rough, and there's always a kerfuffle. So we lost a lot of design time yesterday, like peeking through a window at some shit going down.
Yeah, dude. It was crazy.
So, you know, your design life might be bad, but you're not fighting with someone in a parking lot right now. So is it really that bad? Find out next week.
Thanks for joining us on our lovely special edition of Day Rates.
Every single one of you, and then just 5 more, and that's all 10. We appreciate you.
Tell a friend. And as we always say at the end of every episode,
Tumbling gentleman gathers no moss.